helped me to improve my productivity, to really shorten the time between me thinking to do the task and then actually sitting down to do the task, and removing all of the procrastination there, because it's the biggest drainage of your time and energy just to spend in that space. Welcome everyone to LifewithLiza podcast. Our mission at LifewithLiza is to share people's stories and the challenges that they have overcome, so that those who are listening in can get the strength, the courage, and the hope to be their better selves. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk to you about productivity and share two of the things that made the biggest difference in my life. And I hope with this video, I managed to increase your productivity by at least 10%, and it makes the biggest difference in your life because those 10% also do compound. So two things that I wanted to share with you. First thing is, I feel like the hardest part about getting anything done is just sitting down and starting to work on it, and there is the most amount of resistance in that. So if you manage to find a shortcut to actually convincing yourself to start doing something and just getting to do it, once you start doing the task, you find that you actually quite enjoy it, and you enjoy the challenge, enjoy being in the process, and actually it's way easier to continue on with the tasks than it was to actually just sit down and start doing that task. So one of the things that is working for me quite well is I say to myself, okay, just sit down and do this task for 10 minutes. You don't have to be doing this task for 1 hour, for 2 hours. Just sit down and start working on it. And if after 10 minutes you feel like it's too much, you can quit. But usually after 10 minutes, you're so engaged in that task that you don't want to quit and you really want to keep going. And the hardest part was actually to overcome that initial resistance. So I hope this tip helps you to do so. And then the second part that I also wanted to mention is, sometimes when we look at big tasks and we imagine that the task would take us days or weeks or months to actually complete, but the thing is, we also in our minds we start buffering in all of that extra time that would be required for us to just mess around, procrastinate, etc. But actually, if you think about how much of the actual time would be required for me to actually sit down and get that task done, it's actually way less. Sometimes it would be just 15 minutes of concentrated deep work effort that would be required to get that task done. Sometimes it would be a few hours, but a few hours of deep work and deep concentration for some reason is translated by our mind, is converted by our mind into hours, into days, into weeks of work, whereas we can actually get it done in a compressed amount just of a few hours once we actually are concentrated and focused and are in a state of deep work. And actually what takes the most of the time is convincing ourselves to sit down and start to get that job done. So I think these are the two biggest thoughts and ideas that helped me to improve my productivity, to really shorten the time between me thinking to do the task and then actually sitting down to do the task, and removing all of the procrastination there, because it's the biggest drainage of your time and energy just to spend in that space. And then the second part, realizing that even those big and complicated tasks that seemingly will take weeks and just so much of my time to do so, actually they're not that big. And actually if we think in terms of the actual work, of how much concentrated, focused work it'll take us to get it done, it's way less. So I hope these two ideas and thoughts, productivity hacks, also will help you to increase your productivity at least by 10%, and I'm sure it will be way more than that, and that will compound in your life and make the biggest difference. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please be sure to subscribe to this channel, to like this video, and I see you in the next episode.